Hey, everybody, I'm Dan Hodgman with Top Step, and we're sitting down with another funded trader, Ed, out of Australia. Ed, thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
Good, thanks, Dan. How are you?
I can't complain. The weekend is around the corner. Markets are moving. Things are happening. Not a whole lot to complain about over here. So,
Awesome.
Ed, thank you for sitting down with me. You are just got through your pro account. You've done really well there. You're getting into this funded account. So, tell me a little bit about your trading, how long you've been trading, and how long you've been with Top Step.
Yeah, cool. So started with Top Step only last July, but I started looking at futures trading going back to 2016, I think it was. And I mean, I'd sort of dabbled in looking at different financial markets before that, but I kept an eye on a particular trading education company and was sort of keen to learn more about their methods. And so from about 2016 onwards, I've sort of the journey has sort of evolved. But yeah, I'm really grateful for sort of coming across Top Step.
Well, we're happy to have you. What are some of the products that you're looking at here regularly now?
Exclusively NQ.
Okay.
NQ is the only market that I'll look at, and it basically comes back to something that um, a certain training educator taught me, which was to only hunt the one rabbit.
I
So
like that.
yeah, just know how that one rabbit moves, and just study it within an inch of its life, and just keep watching it.
My mentors were talking before. My mentor's my father, and he used to tell me the same thing. Focus on one market, understand its heartbeat, understand its movements, understand every little detail about it, and you're going to be a lot more successful in this industry. When you start dabbling across the board, you can get lost. So I love that you're sticking with one. What are some of the charts that you're looking at? What time frames are you looking at? Are you looking at candlesticks? What exactly are you looking at on your charting?
Yeah, so start at the highest time frames. So I mean, I don't look at the monthly regularly, but I'll sort of keep an eye on where we're at. But yeah, basically just drilling down. So the monthly, I use a 1440 minute chart instead of the daily, and then 60. 65 and one. I will look at the 4 hour just to sort of see if there's any potential swings happening. But yeah, they're the main ones.
Okay, that's awesome. So keeping the high time frame, I think that's got to help slow things down in the Nasdaq with how fast that thing can be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I've really learned, I don't know over how long with Nasdaq, is that um, it just loves Fibonacci. So I'm a massive Fibonacci fan.
That was one of the first things I was taught about quote unquote indicators was looking at my fibs. I didn't know what they were, but I had a statistician that would tell me, all right, these are here are your fib levels for today. Again, I was a kid, so I didn't really know a whole lot at the time, but fib was the first thing he used to tell me to watch every day.
It's really interesting. I guess, a problem solver. Been in the IT industry for quite some time, so I always wanted to work out or learn why the market was doing what it was doing at certain levels. You know, why was one team failing at this level? Why was it turning around and moving or continuing in one direction through this level? So, and it's funny because I used to blame people that would call the trades in this trading room, or people that taught me, and I'd say, well, why didn't it do this? Why didn't it pay this? Why did? And just just stupid early naive thinking. So I've constantly wanted to understand why the market might be moving the way it is. Yeah.
We have to be a student of the market. I think John Hoagland says that pretty regularly, and you're breaking it down spot on. We can see the movements, we can have an idea of where that movement's going to go, but we got to ask ourselves that question of why. Why is I usually tell traders, ask yourself why 3 times. Why are you getting
Mm,
into this trade? Why are you taking this trade? And why is the market doing that? And if you can answer those
mm.
3 questions, it helps kind of understand so that the next time the market's in that same situation, you can ask yourself why 3 times and you have an idea. Like, okay, it's been here before. I know what this thing's going to do. I got a good chance.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the benefits of studying that one market, or chasing the one rabbit, is that after some time, and not that I'm claiming to be an expert with the Nasdaq, always learning every day, but I think you get to a certain point in your development where you are not surprised as much by how it moves, and that's why I think when you hear people talk about different markets that they follow, and doing this. But the Nasdaq is just nuts. It did this and did that, and I sort of chuckle because I sort of think that's true, but when you're following that one market, it doesn't surprise you as much.
The way I put it is it's like driving in a school zone to getting on the freeway or the interstate. You're going from 20 miles an hour to 85 miles an hour, and it's a big abrupt change. But once you get accustomed to going at the high speeds, that's the speed that you know. And when you start bouncing from different market to different market, you're running from two different speed zones, and it gets really difficult to try and keep up with that and maintain some sort of structure around your trading.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And it's great because you start to follow the volatility of it, so you understand when it's moving quick and when it's slowing down. Yeah, occasionally it'll surprise you, but yeah,
Keep it simple, right? Focus on the one market and keep plugging forward. So you've been in the pro
that's
account
it.
before. This was your second time in the pro account. What happened the first time, and what changes did you make this time around to make it right through there with flying colors?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. So I would say that with the first time that I was in the pro account, and it was only sort of late last year. Uh, I would say that I basically it was almost like it was one night where I just pushed too hard, and I was almost convincing myself that I could recover, and just sort of probably lost mental focus. And yeah, um, it just didn't work because I pushed too hard on that one night. But that sort of showed me when I sort of after the post mortem came back and thought about it, and it was one of those silly moments where you think you know it was a night where it wasn't working for me, and I should have been able to sort of see that, draw a line in the sand, and say, hey, look, today I'm done.
Absolutely. I feel like that's a pretty common thing. We've all gone through those points where we're in the middle of the night and we're trading or something's happening and all right, let's just keep kind of pushing through. And we have to kind of touch that hot stove at least once. You got to feel it just once and go, all right, that really sucked. I'm not doing that one again. My next question for you is so you're trading NASDAQ. What are some of the things that you're looking for execution?
Yeah, so like you're saying before, I keep it pretty simple. I don't trade order flow um, but what I'm looking for is basically strength of one team or the other, and I've got my levels pre-set up. So I've got certain indicators that automate those levels that I've put together myself, and I'm then just using sort of that with a combination of an EMA and Fibonacci extensions and retracements. So yeah, just being very well. When I'm on my A game, I'm very very vigilant of the risk. So yeah, that's when I know that I can sort of look for those opportunities that are setting up nicely. It's when I'm sort of aware of all those things. But yeah, big on fib extensions and fib retracements.
They help kind of define a little bit of a level, kind of give us an idea of that channel to be keeping an eye on where these markets can go. And I think that's huge. You got to have, you got to structure it out a little bit to get the true visual of the market. So you mentioned EMA. What period EMA are you tending to look at?
So it's funny because I've had a break now for a couple of weeks, but the main one is just a 14 EMA. So it's really just to sort of see how far away we are from it. If it's sort of hugging that line nicely as it's moving up or down. But it's not the sole indication to me about quick sell short or
Right.
buy long now.
I
Yeah,
look at them as they kind of just give me a guide frame of an area to look at for retracement or right maybe things are starting to turn over. It's just another visual, and I think indicators in general they're just visuals. We can't base our whole strategy based off of one or two indicators. It takes a lot more, and like you said, you got to focus on the one rabbit, get to know how it moves, then you know how it's going to react at those specific levels and how those indicators work within that market.
that's right, exactly. And the more it's moved away from that EMA, it might be an indication to you that okay, you've missed this bus, but that's okay. You need to sort of work out whether the other team's going to come in hard, or whether another opportunity will set up once it's sort of made a retracement and had another crack at moving lower or higher.
Absolutely. All right, I got a last couple questions for you. Uh, First one, ton of traders going through the trading combine. What's some advice you have for those that are trying to get through this thing to where you're at now?
I think one of the most important things that each trader has to discover for themselves is what makes them tick, what trading style suits them best. Because the fact of the matter is, like the longer you're in this game, this is going to test your emotions on a daily basis. So if you can't learn to sort of deal with some of those emotions, I think you're going to struggle to stay in the game. Yeah, everybody's different, and I guess for me, you need to surround yourself with people who've walked the walk, who've done what you're trying to do, and only listen to those sort of people because they have no vested interest in selling you anything. They're just um, hopefully there to just sort of give you some tips and guides about what worked for them, but it may not work for you. And then are you a hobbyist or a professional trader? You need to be very, very clear on what you want from trading, and why do you want to sort of pursue it, and how far you're prepared to go. Like, what does being a professional trader look like? And I think that's where it comes back to knowing your goals, and knowing your why you want to keep doing this. Because there are days when you want to give up. There were days even in this most recent pro account where I wanted to give up, and I thought it's just not going to happen. And you only have to be good at one signal. I think we forget this, that you don't have to overcomplicate it. You can choose to be fussy, and then it's just a patience game and waiting for that one setup. And it may not always appear exactly the way you'd like, but if you've got a checklist of items that you want to tick off before you go bang, then just do that. But yeah, you only have to master that one signal, and then maybe look at other signals. This is the only job, I think, where you can get paid for doing the wrong thing, and you can lose money for doing the right thing. There'll be days where it doesn't do the right thing what you expect, and you could lose money if you're not following your trading rules. Always know your risk and your target before you place a trade. And I love this. I have this printed out from Eric Thomas. Don't rush the process. Trust the process.
I love it. I mean, these are great bullet points across the board. I'm going through each one and I'm thinking, okay, yep, I think I've talked about that before. I've gone through that experience. I mean, my favorite one is kind of understanding, are you a hobbyist or a professional in this? And if you're going to be that, when you start talking about that and you're talking about the goals, everyone has to remember this is the only job that we jump into on day one, and you're just a young rookie playing against the Tom Brady's of the game. Um,
Mm,
and we have to
mm.
keep that in mind because we have, even if we want to be a hobbyist in this, we still got to take that professional mentality, that mindset of it, because we really are. You go in and you're playing with the big dogs on day one. There's no, there's no kids leagues. There's no, mighty mites or anything like that. It's on day one, you're playing with the big dogs as soon as you enter into these markets, and you've got to be prepared for that.
That's it. Yeah. And I will yeah, I'll focus a lot on listening to trading psychologists.
Hmm.
So there's a few in particular that I really sort of listen to, and read their material, and watch out if they send an email out, or a newsletter, or any books they've got. I think they're so important.
That's awesome. All right, I got one last question for you, Ed. This quarter here at Top Step, like, our big thing is we're talking about trader development. So my question for you is, throughout the trading combine, how have you noticed your trading develop?
Yeah, that's a great question. I guess as time has gone on with Top Step, I've always been wanting to look for improvement, and measure that. And I think Top Step has some great tools in there to help you measure that, including that trading scorecard that I think has been introduced just recently. So being able to sort of put in your rules, and then see how you followed them, and getting a bit of a visual on how that's going, as well as on the other side, seeing how your average trade wins and losses are going, with the equity curve hopefully going up. But I think Top Step has really helped me to sort of have some set guidelines in place, whilst having goals in mind, and working out a way to pay myself. I think one of my biggest faults in the past was not really having a process for thinking, if you're going to be in this game for a long time and then plan things, you also need to have a way to pay yourself. So yeah, it felt a bit like being in the mouse wheel, just constantly running. So I'm really sort of grateful for the structures that TopStep has in place. For me, they've been really good.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That's pretty awesome to hear. The rules, the structure, we all need it, myself included. I don't care if you've been in this industry for a week or 45 years, you need some structure, else you're going to flounder a little bit. So, Ed, thank you very much for sitting down with us here today. I really do appreciate taking some time out of the day. So, thank you.
I appreciate it. No worries, Dan. Too easy.
All right. Well, you have yourself a great one, and everybody else, we'll see you later. Take care.